Yeah, you already know it's Bucket of Love at Reaction Reviews, and we back with another one. Yeah, we about to lock right in. You hear me? Listen, we about to, man, we about to, I don't know what we about to witness right now. All right? We about to see the world's most dangerous female assassins. All right.
Barranca Bermeja, Colombia, July 2024. A young man drives down a lonely rural road to meet his ex-girlfriend. He thinks she wants to settle a debt, maybe even reconcile. Instead, it's a setup. Two assassins on a motorcycle roar out of the dark and open fire, killing him in an ambush. Orchestrating it all is 23-year-old Karen Juliet Ojeda Rodriguez, also known as La Muñeca, or the Doll. And by the time police close in on her, she has become one of Colombia's most feared hitwomen. Despite her baby-faced moniker, Karen earned a deadly reputation in the Magdalena Medio region. She climbed the ranks of the Los de la M gang to become allegedly its second-in-command, known for her precise aim and cold-blooded efficiency with firearms. Hired killings, intimidation, blood money. This was her world. Locals whispered that the Doll led a small cadre of hitmen that terrorized the oil town of Barranca Bermeja, carrying out several high-profile murders at the gang's behest. And Karen was ambitious. Police later revealed that at the time of her arrest, she was looking to expand her career in crime, seeking to extend her lethal influence even further. But her brutal career unraveled with that one personal vendetta, the murder of her ex-boyfriend. Investigators say Karen lured 32-year-old Davy Jesus Garcia to a meeting under the pretense of resolving a money dispute. As Davy arrived at the desolate meetup spot in Piedecuesta, two gunmen, Karen's underlings, zoomed.
Hey, listen. I be telling y'all about these exes, man. I better leave them alone. Listen, when it's done, it is done. You hear me? It is done.
By and gunned him down in cold blood. The assassination was brazen, but it was also her downfall. Authorities had suspected La Muñeca in other hits. Now they finally had a direct lead. In December 2024, Colombian police move in. Acting on intelligence after Davy's murder, a special unit sets up an ambush for the Doll. When Karen shows up with a trusted friend, 24-year-old Paula Valentina Joya Rueda, alias Gorda Sicaria, or Fat Hitwoman, officers surround them. Karen reaches for her pistol, but it's too late. The Doll is in custody, along with Gorda Sicaria and another accomplice known as Leopoldo. In the takedown, police seize a .38 revolver and a 9mm pistol from Karen, the very tools of her deadly trade. Ballistics tests would later determine if those weapons were used in her string of murders. With Karen Rodriguez arrested, the spell of terror in Barranca Bermeja was broken. Lieutenant Colonel Mauricio Herrera of the Magdalena Medio Police announced that with La Muñeca and her henchmen behind bars, a period of calm has been created in the region. Their arrests, he said, were a major step in dismantling the criminal network behind the wave of homicides. The Doll's reign had lasted only a few years, but in that time this young woman turned a Colombian city into her personal killing ground. What drives a woman like Karen to become a cartel hitwoman? Part of the answer may lie in the shifting dynamics of organized crime. In Latin America's cartels, more women are being enlisted as assassins and even leaders. The machista assumptions of rivals and even law enforcement can be an advantage, letting female killers operate without being seen. La Muñeca knew how to play this invisibility. With her innocent alias and youthful looks, she stayed under the radar while commanding male gunmen twice her age. She turned gender stereotypes upside down, a femme fatale in the most literal sense. Yet Karen's story ends in a jail cell, not a blaze of glory. As she awaits trial for multiple murders, she stands as a cautionary tale of power and hubris. Once a prized assassin poised to rise even higher in the underworld, the Doll now faces the very justice she had outrun for so long. Her downfall was swift and decisive, proof that no one, not even a deadly doll-faced killer, is untouchable. In a bustling Madrid square one summer morning in 1986, a sudden blast.
Hold on, before I'm gonna say this, with a name like Doll, because look, you gotta look at it. Like, even niggas in the hood, they'll send a chick at you. You see what I'm saying? Like, they'll send a chick at you, a chick come, I mean, yeah. Worldwide, this is, you hear me?
turned calm into carnage. A car bomb exploded in Plaza de la República Dominicana, killing 12 Guardia Civil officers in an instant. This was no random act of terror. It was the work of a mysterious female assassin whose beauty was as disarming as her cruelty. Her name was Idoia López Riaño, infamously nicknamed La Tigresa, the Tigress, for her alluring yet lethal persona. Over the 1980s, Riaño became one of ETA's deadliest operatives, credited with 23 murders during Spain's bitter Basque conflict. This is the story of how a green-eyed femme fatale seduced her way into victims' lives and earned a reputation as a ruthless contract killer in the name of separatist terror. Idoia López Riaño's journey into violence began in the turbulent Basque country. Born in 1964, she joined the militant separatist group ETA in 1984 when she was barely 20. At first glance, Riaño did not fit the typical profile of a terrorist. She was strikingly attractive, standing 1.8 meters tall with emerald green eyes and curly hair. But beneath her looks lay an ice-cold killer's heart. Former associates describe her as cold and calculating, utterly devoted to ETA's bloody campaign for Basque independence. She felt she had to prove herself twice as much as men in a male-dominated underworld, and prove herself she did, in blood. Riaño quickly rose through ETA's ranks by volunteering for the most dangerous missions. Investigators say she was involved in multiple ambushes and bombings, targeting police and military personnel with no mercy. Her total body count would eventually make her ETA's most prolific killer, responsible for more deaths than any other member of the group. By the late 1980s, authorities knew they were hunting a female assassin whose brutality matched any of her male counterparts. What made La Tigresa especially feared was her use of seduction as a weapon. In an environment where few expected a woman to be a hardcore hitman, Riaño exploited stereotypes to deadly effect. Legends swirled about her nightlife exploits. The glamorous gunwoman allegedly cruised clubs and discos for off-duty policemen, luring them with one-night stands. While her unsuspecting lovers survived the encounters, Riaño would calmly go on to pump bullets into their colleagues days later. Despite occasional reckless behavior, Riaño proved to be an effective and deadly operative. In one notorious attack, she was supposed to cover a comrade during a hit on an army officer's car. Instead, she opened fire first herself, spraying the vehicle with bullets in a frenzy of violence. Her reputation for cold-eyed ruthlessness was so pronounced that decades later, fiction writers would base violent characters on her persona. Even fellow ETA members grew wary of her indiscipline. On covert operations, she sometimes disappeared to party, forcing her cell to scramble for safety when she failed to return to the safe house. For nearly a decade, La Tigresa evaded the authorities. Her luck ran out in 1994 when French police finally arrested Riaño in the south of France. After years on the run, the deadly seductress was in custody. She was extradited to Spain in 2001 to face justice for the blood on her hands. The courtroom only enhanced her legend. Even in chains, Riaño remained defiant. At her 2002 trial in Madrid, the 38-year-old showed no remorse. Convicted of participating in 23 murders, she received a staggering sentence of over 2,000 years in prison. Symbolic, since Spanish law caps actual time.
2,000 years. So most of y'all can't even do one.
Served. Riaño snarled at the judges with militant zeal. "We will go on fighting until you leave the Basque country in peace," she spat, vowing ETA's war was not over. In that moment, she seemed every bit the unrepentant killer the public feared. Yet the story of La Tigresa took an unexpected turn behind bars. As the years passed and ETA's violence waned, Riaño underwent a transformation. By 2010, she had broken with ETA, signing a letter to renounce violence and apologize to victims. This act of contrition got her expelled from ETA's prisoner network. The once fearsome tigress was now deemed a traitor by her old comrades. But it also paved the way for mercy. After serving 23 years, 1 year per victim, Idoia López Riaño was released on parole in 2017. The woman who had been sentenced to millennia in prison walked free, having finally expressed regret for her bloody past. Mexico City, early.
Now that was, I mean, sometimes you really gotta, I'm gonna be honest with you, some things that we hold on to in life, they really drown in us. You know, some of the things you hold on to, they dragging you down. So, yeah, man, she had to let some go.
2000s. In cramped apartments and quiet neighborhoods, elderly women are dying gruesomely. One by one, they're found strangled or bludgeoned in their own homes, often with household objects. A phone cord, a scarf, even a stethoscope. The serial killer preys on abuelas who live alone, earning a chilling nickname in the press, El La Mata Viejitas, the little old lady killer.
What?
Mexico City is gripped by fear. Daughters warn their aging mothers not to trust strangers. The
But who grandma out there? And what y'all did to her?
police are desperate and baffled. At first, profilers insist the murderer must be a man, perhaps dressed as a woman, because such violent crimes just don't fit the typical pattern for female killers. But the truth is far stranger. The killer is indeed a woman, and not just any woman. She's a former professional wrestler with a troubled past. Meet Juana Dayanara Barraza Samperio, a middle-aged mother of four who once entertained crowds in the wrestling ring as La Dama del Silencio, the Lady of Silence. Behind that silent persona, however, Juana carried the weight of unspeakable trauma. Born in 1957 in rural Hidalgo, Mexico, Juana endured a nightmarish childhood. Her mother, an alcoholic, sold 12-year-old Juana to a man for a few beers, effectively trading her daughter for alcohol. In the man's custody, Juana was repeatedly raped and even became pregnant as a young teen. The betrayal by her mother cut deep. Juana grew up nursing a bitter, secret hatred, a rage against the kind of older women who she felt had destroyed her innocence. By the late 1990s, that hatred had turned lethal. Elderly women across Mexico City began turning up dead. Juana Barraza, blending into neighborhoods as a harmless-looking señora, would pose as a city social worker or nurse to win her victims' trust. After killing them by strangulation or bludgeoning, Juana would often rob the homes, perhaps a pragmatic footnote to her dark mission. For years, the Mata Viejitas case frustrated authorities. Witnesses gave conflicting descriptions. Some swore they saw a large masculine woman at the scenes. Others reported seeing what might have been a man in women's clothing. The city was on edge, and police even arrested the wrong suspects at one point, a pair of transvestite street performers, in a bid to stop the killings. But the real killer was still out there, and she was clever. Juana had learned to disguise herself and leave minimal clues. The breakthrough finally came on January 25, 2006. That day, 82-year-old Ana Maria de los Reyes Alfaro was strangled with a stethoscope in her home. But this time, there was a witness next door. A tenant or neighbor saw someone fleeing Ana Maria's house and raised the alarm. Police units nearby gave chase. They cornered the suspect in the street, and to their astonishment, the person in custody was a woman, stocky, short-haired, looking every bit like the composite sketch they had of the Mata Viejitas. She even had a stethoscope and fake social worker ID in her purse, tools of the trade for gaining trust. The killer's mask was off. Juana Barraza was caught red-handed, literally fleeing a murder scene. Today, Juana Barraza lives out her days in the Santa Marta Acatitla prison. Reports say she's become a fitness instructor behind bars, and even briefly married another inmate before a divorce. Bizarre footnotes to an infamously dark life. But for the people of Mexico City, the nightmare she created won't be forgotten. Juana's case forced a reckoning with biases in crime fighting. Authorities admit that assuming the killer was male delayed her capture. She had cleverly exploited gender stereotypes, hiding in plain sight. In a final irony, the ex-wrestler who once performed as the Silent Lady turned out to be one of the loudest, most vicious killers in Mexico's history. The little old lady killer had been unmasked, and the Silent Lady now stays silent forever in a prison cell. Our next case...
Hey, look. Never judge a book by its cover. Especially in 2026, you better not do it. Telling you. People like that, yeah, they outside. Somebody grandma. That's why.
This takes us to the 1990s underworld of Vietnam. This is a world of smoky gambling dens, bustling black markets, and gangland honor codes, where one man, known as Nam Com, reigned as the untouchable godfather of Saigon.
Nam
Nam Cam ran rackets from gambling to protection to prostitution, greasing the palms of corrupt officials to become virtually immune to law enforcement. But even he had an Achilles heel, a rival who refused to bow. That rival was better known by her street name, Dong Ha. She was a rare figure indeed, a female crime boss who rose to become Nam Cam's equal in power, and ultimately, his mortal enemy. Dong Ha's story is one of defiance. Born in 1965 in the northern port city of Haiphong, she grew up around gangsters and hustlers in the chaotic post-war years. Haiphong was infamous for its tough crime syndicates, and Dong proved early on that she could be just as tough. As a teen, she ran with local gangs doing pickpocketing and robberies to survive. Over the years, she climbed the criminal ladder, from running petty thievery rings to controlling entire districts of the city. By the 1990s, Dong Ha had become the undisputed queen of Haiphong's underworld, known for her brains, brutality, and bold personality. Unconstrained by traditional gender roles, she adopted a masculine fashion style and was openly lesbian, so much so that underworld circles nicknamed her Dong the Lesbian, an epithet she embraced with pride. In a milieu dominated by hyper-masculine men, Dong Ha's very existence was revolutionary, and she was good at being bad, so good that she eventually set her sights beyond her hometown. Around 1995, Dong Ha made a fateful move. She decided to expand south to Saigon, or Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam's largest metropolis, where the big money flowed. This was Nam Cam's turf, and everyone knew it. At first, Nam Cam, perhaps out of respect for her reputation, welcomed Dong Ha into his fold. There are tales that he treated her like a little sister, letting her operate some casinos or nightclubs under his protection. But Dong Ha was not content playing second fiddle. She had a streak of independence and a volatile temper. Before long, her and Nam Cam's alliance soured. Accounts vary on what exactly.
Hey, I'm gonna say this real quick. I'm gonna let the video play. Listen, that's why you don't trust people. Stop bringing people in your circle. Look, man, this man was like, hey, man, look, what's mine is yours. If I got it, you got it. And then, you know, after a while, the motherfucker started thinking like, all right, well, I want more. So sometimes you gotta, I don't care if that's your homeboy, your bestie, whatever. I'm saying, because eventually, all of them turn to enemies, man. All of
exactly sparked their feud, but by 1999, Dong Ha was openly challenging Nam Cam's authority in Saigon. What unfolded next is the stuff of underworld legend. Dong Ha started to undermine Nam Cam's businesses. According to one famous anecdote, she targeted one of Nam Cam's elite nightclubs where he hosted VIP parties. One evening, Nam Cam threw a lavish soiree, expensive cognac, top officials mingling with gangsters, and Dong Ha decided to crash it in the most outrageous way. She had a gift-wrapped box delivered to the club for Nam Cam. Inside the box, live rats smeared with feces. When the box was opened, rats scattered everywhere, sending the well-heeled guests into screaming chaos. It was a deliberate and deeply insulting prank. Dong Ha's message to Nam Cam that she wasn't afraid of him, that she could embarrass him on his own turf. Nam Cam was furious. In the mafia world, respect is everything, and Dong Ha's stunt had made him look foolish. The retaliation was swift and brutal. On October 2, 2000, as Dong Ha sat outside a cafe in Saigon's Chinatown, a hitman crept up and shot her point blank in the head, killing her instantly. The order, everyone knew, came from Nam Cam. Later, Nam Cam himself admitted he had Dong Ha killed because she had shown disrespect to him and his organization. The Godfather had asserted his dominance the only way he knew how, with bullets. However, this assassination would prove to be Nam Cam's undoing. Dong Ha's murder sent shockwaves through Vietnam's law enforcement and political circles. Perhaps the authorities realized that if a prominent gangster could be gunned down in cold blood in Saigon, no one was safe from the gang wars. The government, which had long turned a blind eye to Nam Cam's operations due to his bribes, finally decided to act. In December 2001, police from Hanoi launched a massive crackdown on Nam Cam's empire. They arrested Nam Cam at his mistress's house and rounded up scores of his associates, including corrupt officers and officials on his payroll. It became Vietnam's biggest mafia trial ever. 155 defendants, from gang enforcers to high-ranking Communist Party members who had been bought off. In 2003, Nam Cam was convicted of multiple crimes, with the murder of Dong Ha chief among them. and was sentenced to death. The following year, the once untouchable Godfather was executed by firing squad. In a poetic twist, Dong Ha's death had set into motion the fall of an entire criminal empire. Today, Dong Ha is remembered in Vietnam almost as a folk anti-hero. Some see her as a symbol of rebellion, a woman who rose in a man's world and nearly beat the Godfather at his own game. Her life has been the subject of documentaries and fictionalized accounts, cementing her legacy as the country's most notorious female gangster. It's said that young gangsters in Haiphong still tell tales of her fearless exploits. But beyond any romanticism lies the cold reality. Dong Ha was as ruthless as they come. She orchestrated murders, ran extortion rackets, and spread fear wherever she went. Her war with Nam Cam turned city streets into shooting galleries and ultimately cost her life.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Sevastopol, Soviet Union, 1941. The air is thick with smoke and shrapnel as Nazi forces push toward the Crimean Peninsula. In the rubble-strewn outskirts of the city, a 25-year-old woman lies prone in the dirt, calm and focused. Through the scope of her Mosin Nagant rifle, she spots a German officer peering from a trench. One shot, clean, silent, and he collapses. The kill is confirmed. It's one of hundreds. The sniper's name is Lyudmila Pavlichenko, and she is fast becoming a legend. Her comrades call her Lady Death. Lyudmila isn't a contract killer or cartel enforcer. She's a soldier, but her body count rivals the deadliest hitmen in history. With 309 confirmed kills, including 36 enemy snipers, Pavlichenko was the most lethal female sniper of World War II and one of the deadliest in history. What makes her story even more chilling is how calmly she embraced the job. Killing for Lyudmila became a science, a discipline, a duty. She was born in 1916 in what is now Ukraine. A fiery tomboy, she competed with boys in school sports and shooting clubs. By her early 20s, she was studying history at Kiev University and already an accomplished sharpshooter. When Hitler invaded the Soviet Union in 1941, Lyudmila didn't hesitate. She volunteered for the Red Army, demanding to be placed in combat. The officers laughed, at first, but she insisted. They gave her a rifle in a trial mission. She returned with 2 dead Germans. She was in. Assigned to the 25th Rifle Division, Pavlichenko quickly rose through the sniper ranks. She stalked enemy soldiers for days at a time, hiding in trees, holes, and ruined buildings, picking off targets with terrifying patience. Her kills weren't random. Officers, machine gunners, medics, she eliminated them methodically, knowing each shot could change the tide of a battle. Her longest documented duel, over 72 hours against a rival Nazi sniper. She won. But her success came at a cost. In the trenches of Odessa and Sevastopol, she watched comrades die. She was wounded multiple times, including once by mortar fire. Still, she refused evacuation until ordered. By 1942, she was too valuable to risk in combat. The Soviets sent her to the US and Britain on a diplomatic tour, the first Soviet citizen received at the White House. She met Eleanor Roosevelt, gave speeches, and famously mocked American reporters who asked if she wore makeup at the front. "I wear my uniform," she snapped, "and I have my rifle." Behind the composed exterior was a woman forever marked by war. She had killed hundreds, she had buried friends, and she had become a symbol, a Soviet hero, yes, but also a walking ghost of the battlefield. After the war, she returned to school and faded from public life. She never killed again, but she never quite escaped either. Lyudmila Pavlichenko died in 1974 at age 58, a quiet end for a woman who had once silenced entire platoons. In Russia and Ukraine, statues and postage stamps bear her image. In the West, her story was forgotten. Until recently, as historians and filmmakers rediscovered the woman sniper who outshot most men and never flinched. Lady Death didn't kill for revenge or power, she killed for country. But make no mistake, she was every bit the assassin. Cold, brilliant, unstoppable. Her rifle is silent now, but the legend lives on.
Hey, look, I ain't gonna lie. Nah. Lady Death? Yeah. Yeah, she a real one. That's 309. Yeah, but nah, for real, man, listen. I believe that women can do anything men can do. You feel me? But it's not the other way around. You hear me? Yeah, that's vicious. These are the world's most dangerous female assassins, and this is Bucket of Love. And I'm gonna be right back.